Good morning. This is Kalen North. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Oops. We're gonna be playing some Serpent games today. Just gonna move my chat over to the side so I can actually see it. I was going to start off with Serpent paired with Spirit other than Shadows, given that we did Shadows in the basic strategy guide. But otherwise, I'm pretty open to suggestions as to what people want to see. So let's see, we did Shadows already. So I'm gonna have Serpent go alongside Lightning, because Lightning has a little bit more of a presence issue than Serpent or than some other spirits do, and so this is gonna add a little bit more tension to the two spirits, because absorbing essence means losing Lightning's sacred sites. I'm just gonna do a base difficulty game here to start with. I'm gonna turn off events again unless people really want to see them. Because, again, I want to just focus on what Serpent can do more. And less focus on how... I mean, it's sort of the difference in my mind between basic and intermediate strategy as to whether or not we have events on. So, we'll just kick off this game, and if there's anything that you want to see other than this, let me know in the chat, and we can switch games or do something else as need be. Alright, Lightning's going to play standard Reclaim Loop Lightning. We're going to do what we can to augment that with Serpent. But it is still going to be a pretty typical play. Serpent, I still like to usually gain a power card turn one. In multiplayer, I don't gain a major turn one as often. I usually go for a minor instead to see if I can solve a land with it. But that's sort of a difference between solo Serpent and multiplayer Serpent. Enticing Splendor is actually really tempting here. Get some Dahan into C2 for defense to take out that city. Song of Sanctity, not so interesting for Serpent. I mean, it's blight removal potentially, but the push all explorers is not too strong of an effect on a base difficulty game. I really don't care for that too much outside of like a France or something like that. Similarly with Poison Dew, destroying multiple explorers is really best when you've got something like a France going on, and in that case it's amazing. And then Teeming Rivers, more blight removal. The elements aren't really great for us. I mean, they've got plant, but so does everything on this draft. So I'm going to take Enticing Splendor, and I'm going to have Serpent hop into C2. Grow from the bottom track as usual, and play Enticing Splendor. Lightning's going to play nothing turn one. And we're going to grab some Dahan. I'm going to take 2 Dahan from C3, I think, because I want to blow things up in C3 anyway, if anything gets there. Offensive Serpent is really, in my mind, more a question of what stage of the game you're in. If you're in the late stage of the game, offensive Serpent just sort of becomes offensive almost by default once you get up to more card plays or more energy, because it's so easy to transition to majors or to doing something with your Snakequake, the third tier of Serpent Rouses in Anger. It's definitely something that's like what am I trying to say here? It's not it's not easy for Serpent in multiplayer to go offense early, in my experience. I'm sure someone's done it before, but like I don't think it scales well to high difficulties. So that's I guess my only thoughts on there. In solo Serpent, you can use it pretty aggressively, just because you can play Gift of Flowing Power and Gift of the Primordial Deeps on yourself, as well as Absorb Essence on yourself. So your energy income gets a lot better, as well as giving you the elements you need to really destroy towns, like even starting on turn 1, and then cities on turn 2. At this point, I'm actually going to gain a major with Serpent just to start planning for the late game. I think this is what we did in the basic strategy video. But I'll probably forget Enticing Splendor. As nice as the Dahan movement is, we do have Harbingers on Lightning, so that's pretty appealing. And I'm going to set up a defense in C2 and C6, and then Lightning's going to take care of B5 and B3. Something interesting we can do here is we can use Absorb Essence to actually let Lightning only play 2 cards, because we don't really need Lightning's boon this turn. Serpent's going to be playing Elemental Aegis and Absorb Essence, and so Absorb Essence can give Lightning its 3rd fire so that it hits the first tier of Thundering Destruction. And that lets us get a little more freedom as far as what we're going to do for destroying things and freeing up our card plays and our energy, especially for Lightning on future turns. So, Serpent's going to gain a major. These are all fine choices. Bloodrack Plague gives us another AoE defense option on top of Elemental Aegis. It's not going to be quite as useful, I think, because I don't think we're likely to threshold it. That 4 animal is really hard to hit. Pent-Up Calamity is really nice on Serpent, because you definitely can hit the threshold with the Fire and Moon on your tracks, as well as on all of your cards, pretty much. And Pent-Up Calamity is really just strong, so I'm probably going to take that. Tsunami's interesting, but Sacred Sites are a little annoying to get with Serpent sometimes, and we probably don't need quite that much damage. We'll probably be happier just using something like a Pent-Up Calamity to, snipe B2 or something like that. And then Talons of Lightning. I love Talons of Lightning, but it is overcosted. It's definitely powerful if you're having problems in the mountains and wetlands, but we started Sans Jungles, and so it's a lot less appealing because of that as well. So I'm just going to take Pent-Up Calamity, forget Enticing Splendor. Lightning's going to grow twice. Now, I could do something really weird here and grow twice from the top track again and have a really, really energy-focused Lightning, because we only actually need 2 card plays this turn. The problem is that's probably going to hamstring us for next turn, but we could try and do it anyway and see if we get lucky with Gift of the Primordial Deeps in getting us another power. And so just for the sake of experimentation, I'm going to show that off. So we're gonna go for energy. We're gonna play Shatter Homesteads and Harbingers. Serpent's gonna place another presence. Where do we need presence? We're gonna want to destroy a town with Serpent this turn, and we're probably gonna do it in C4 because that's sort of our least handled area right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put presence there. Then play Elemental Aegis and Absorb Essence. We're going to Absorb Essence on Lightning, of course. Give them... we're gonna eat the presence in land C3. Give them that extra fire element and that extra energy. And then we can Thundering Destruction... Harbingers first. Always Harbingers first. Take from the coastal land. That's more of an events thing because we don't want it next to the city. But then Thundering Destruction there. Shatter Homesteads in... Oh! I messed that up. Sorry. We only get 2 fast powers, so we don't Harbingers here. We simply Thundering Destruction and Shatter Homesteads. We'll save Harbingers for the slow. We don't get that counterattack in B5 when we do this because we don't get Lightning's Boon turn 1. And then Elemental Aegis we're going to set up in C5, defend the sands on seaboard. which clears out a city, takes out a town, lets the invaders build in the jungle, and they explore in the mountains. Alright, so now I'm going to Harbingers, and on Lightning's board, because I've kind of set up this really strange build for Lightning, I'm going to actually Harbingers a Dahan from B7 into B8, just so that land is solved, and we don't have to worry about taking out the town or defending it. Serpent's going to rouse in anger and take out C4. Get some fear. Harbingers is going to move a Dahan out of B7, and then we're going to go from there. Now, this turn, I think that what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use Pent-Up Calamity to solve a land, one of the jungles, rather than using it to go too aggressively on either the mountain in B2 or anywhere that we have beasts. And the reason for that is that I don't really have a good Aegis location, so reclaiming for that doesn't make as much sense. But I'm hoping that I can do something interesting with a combination of Pent-Up Calamity, Gift of the Primordial Deeps, and then Lightning's Boon, Raging Storm, and whatever Gift of the Primordial Deeps turns up. An alternative to that, actually, if we really just want to take out towns with Lightning, is we could use Gift of Flowing Power just to get an energy and to get a fire element. That would work as well, but I kind of want to get Lightning the extra power, just so that we have a little bit of a head start on next turn with Lightning. So I'm going to go twice from the bottom track with Lightning. We'll put a presence. Let's see, we've got fairly good coverage of the board. I want to put the zero range presence in C3. And actually, I'm going to go into B3, I think, here, just so that we have an adjacency to B2. And then I'll actually put the zero range presence in there as well, because then we can still hit most of the board, if not almost all of the board. We can hit everything except the corner lands with Lightning's Sacred Sites then. So we'll play Lightning's Boon and we'll play Raging Storm. And then, let's see here. Because we have Lightning's Boon, we can use Serpent Rouses in Anger fast, so that's going to let us solve C1. And then Pent-Up Calamity will solve B4. It won't take out the town in B4, but it'll at least get a Strife and a Disease in there. So with Serpent, I'm actually going to gain another Minor Power this turn. Get some more fodder for gaining Majors later. And Veil the Knight's Hunt is really nice on Serpent. Getting that fast Dahan movement is huge. Land of Haunts and Embers I don't like too much on Serpent. The elements are okay. Moon and Fire are both nice. But the effect is just not as important, I feel, to Serpent, because you have so much power in Serpent Rouses in Anger. Gift of Power could be huge because we can use it alongside Gift of the Primordial Deeps to just start throwing powers at Lightning and really get a lot of stuff going on with them. Renewing Rain, again, Sacred Site targeting, trying to remove Blight, maybe add Wilds, just isn't that appealing to me. Plant Earth, of course, is really nice on Serpent because it potentially lets us hit second level of Serpent Wakes and Power. And so that makes me think Gift of Power or Renewing Rain are probably the ones to pick. And between those, I like Gift of Power a lot more here. I just want to take a look and see if there's anywhere good to Veil the Knight's Hunt, just because I really like Dahan movement on Serpent. But I don't think we really need it because we have... Yeah. Renewing Rain's elements are good, but they're strictly worse than Gift of Power's elements. Is the thing. And with Lightning in the game, Gift of Power is so much stronger because Lightning is always so power hungry. So I'll take Gift of Power here. I'm not going to use it this turn. I'll probably use it next turn. But then we're going to grow, get our fire element up, and we're going to grow into C1 to solve that land. So I'm going to play, not Gift of Power, Pent-Up Calamity, and let's see. With lightning, we can actually probably do better than I was suggesting with using Pent Up Calamity to solve B4, because if we play Gift of Flowing Power, because Gift of Flowing Power guarantees that lightning can hit Thundering Destruction and can actually get into B4 and take care of that pretty easily. Raging Storm is going to be just Snipe and Explorer this turn. We really want it mostly for the elements. The only thing is, if we use Gift of Flowing Power, then we don't actually have enough Earth for Serpent Rouses in Anger. So I think I'm going to take Gift of the Primordial Deeps and see what we can do. See if we get lucky on Lightning. But if not, you know, we'll still have the backup plan of Pent Up Calamity in B4 to stop the Blight Cascade. So Primordial Deeps on Lightning. And let's see. So we just need fire here. So Elusive Ambushes works great. Purifying Flame works great. Or works, I should say. I don't know that it's particularly great. But do we have... We could use Elusive Ambushes on a number of different lands. But... And Purifying Flame doesn't really do too much for us because we can't. There's no mountains or sands with Blight yet. So I'm gonna take Elusive Ambushes here and play it, just because of what we've already got. So that'll get us our fire element. We can Thundering Destruction in B4, and then I'm just gonna Raging Storm in B7 to do a little more inland clearing here. There isn't really another great target for it, so it's kind of meh, but it works. Lightning's Boon we're going to use on Serpent, so that we can Serpent Rouses in Anger here in C1, get a little more fear, and then Pent Up Calamity. I was thinking about B2 just to take out the city, but by losing the disease, because we don't have the threshold on it right now, we don't have enough fire. Losing the disease means that they're still going to build a town there. So it might be a little better to just put it on something like C7 and then have C7 solved and see if we can get some Dahan in there next turn. The other possibility is we could just add tokens with it to B2 and then just push some Dahan in with Harbingers of the Lightning next turn. The question is really, how do I feel about getting an inland city in C7? And I think the answer is I really don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and add Disease and Strife. Elusive Ambushes is kind of meh here. I think we only really have one good target for it, which is C6, because all the jungles are handled that we can reach anyway. We can't reach B8, which is okay. But I'm just going to snipe the Explorer in C6 so that if we get another Sands Explorer in Stage 2, it's not as bad. And I'm not sure why it's asking me to finish using powers at this point, because I don't have any other powers to use. Alright, we may gather a town into a coastal land. That's nice. We can cut off some inlands then by gathering a town from B6 to B1. And then... Ooh, do we want to do something with B2? We could gather the town into B2 further, because that would cut off B6 from an Explorer. It would make B2 a bigger problem, but I think that we probably have enough resources to deal with that, given that Lightning's probably going to play 5 cards next turn. So I'm going to gather the town into B2. Alright, we take a Blight in B8, lose a Dahan, but otherwise we're under control. Invaders explore in the wetlands, and now we don't get a B6 explore, so that's really nice. Alright, Lightning's going to reclaim, gain a power card. We're going to have 6 energy to work with, so I really want to get something that goes well with the cards we already have, so I'm probably going to take a minor here. We could potentially do a major just because we did go for a strange build on Lightning where we've got that 3 energy uncovered. But I'm going to start with a minor here. I really do like Spur On with Words of Fire for getting Serpent to be able to play an extra card, but I don't think it's as urgent. And so I'm actually probably going to take Swarming Wasps here, because the elements are really good. It costs 0, and that's going to help us leverage into 5-card plays and potentially into majors in the near future on Lightning. So Elemental Boon, of course, really nice on Serpent because it would potentially let us hit Serpent Wakes in power level 2. But I don't think we're going to need the proliferation that badly, or at least not that soon. So we will go ahead with Serpent, and I'm going to... I think the Gift of Primordial Deeps has done its work, so I'm actually going to go ahead and gain another major on Serpent. And... Alright, so Cleansing Floods is kind of tempting. Blazing Renewal is not going to be so great because we haven't really lost any presence yet this game. Smothering Infestation, I feel like, doesn't usually do enough. And the elements aren't really great for Serpent. We could pair it with Gift of Power to threshold it. But, again, I don't think that's going to do quite as much. Dissolve the Bonds of Kinship. I just am really down on this power lately. I haven't felt like it's had a really good use. Although we could do something weird like Dissolve the Bonds of Kinship in B2 to solve it and push a bunch of Explorers everywhere. Fast with Lightning's Boon. So that could be an option. But I think I'm happier doing Gift of Power and Gift of Flowing Power this turn. So I'm just going to take Cleansing Floods because we've already got presence in C5 and we can do some clearing there with that next turn. And I'm going to forget Gift of Primordial Deeps. Place a presence, get our any element. Because we're going to get sped up, I think I'm going to have Serpent hop into either C3 or B2. The question is, am I going to get to the 3rd tier of Lightning's Thundering Destruction this turn? And the answer is actually yes. I'm going to be able to get there this turn. So we're almost going to get to the 4th tier. So Lightning's going to solve B2 with Thundering Destruction. So we can set up Serpent in C3 instead and have them take out the town there. We should be able to do that if we take our any element as Earth. So. And then Lightning's going to play everything except for Elusive Ambushes and Swarming Wasps. And then Gift of Flowing Power we're going to use to play Swarming Wasps. We could actually do Elusive Ambushes instead, now that I'm thinking about it, because we get the extra energy from Gift of Flowing Power. And that would let us snipe the Explorer in C5, which could be really good. Or the Explorer in B1, because then we stop a build. But as it is, I'm going to start by Gift of Flowing Power, and I think that I am going to play Elusive Ambushes here. Because we don't... Swarming Wasps is really nice, but I think Elusive Ambushes is going to do slightly more. Thundering Destruction on B2. The question is, do we want to push any Dahan in there first? No, I think I want to push the Dahan into C7 instead, where the Strife is. So Thundering Destruction, take out the town and the city. Harbingers, I'm going to start by Elusive Ambushing in C5. Deal a damage, and then I'm going to Harbingers those Dahan into C7. We don't really need Shatter Homesteads in the fast, so I can save that for the slow. I'll Raging Storm in B1, stop the build there, and then we'll Shatter Homesteads in C8 in the slow phase. But for now, I'm going to Lightning's Boon, getting Serpent Rouses in Anger in C3. And we might as... It doesn't make a huge difference, Gift of Power versus Serpent Wakes in power. I guess we'll use Gift of Power and see what Lightning gets. Flesh Rot Fever's nice. Got that fire, air, water elements. Gift of Living Energy is really nice. Help fuel lightning, as well as potentially fueling Serpent as need be. I probably prefer Flesh Rot Fever a little bit, just because I want to be able to hit that third tier, or that fourth tier rather. We don't really need it in this difficulty setting, so that's probably overkill, but I'm going to take it anyway. And then we're going to save Shatter Homesteads for the slow. Fear card, defend one and all lands. That's not going to really do anything, but that's okay. Wetlands build, invaders explore in the coastal lands, and how close are we to Terror 2? Do we just win now? Yeah, we just win when we take out this town. So that's some of the shenanigans Lightning can get up to with Serpent. Again, this one was a relatively quick game. We didn't spend a ton of turns on it, but being able to hit extra card plays, being able to get extra energy, being able to actually play Raging Storm for its elements especially is really nice. Yeah, and we had a bunch of Explorers left over, but that is what it is. From those of you in the chat, any spirits you really want to see with Serpent? Or anything you want to see with Serpent in particular? Not really, not really the most active right now. So, let's grab Serpent on board D. We used B and C last time, I think, so I'll grab DNA this time. We could, again, we did Shadows in the basic strategy video, so let's there's only 9 choices left. This isn't too bad. Maybe Keeper. We could certainly do Keeper. This is an interesting one because they both can like gift powers back and forth, and as well as like just sling majors around, and so that can be kind of entertaining. You want to see Serpent struggle until it awakens? I probably should. Here, let me abandon this one and I'll turn the difficulty up, and then we might actually get a Serpent Wakens. So throw Keeper on D, Serpent on A. If we really want to see Serpent wake up, I would say France is probably the best bet. So let's just throw in a France 6. I think this one will be doable, but also a little more interesting, perhaps. Y'all get to watch me struggle with Keeper now this time. It's, I think, my least played spirit in the app, which isn't saying that much. So we'll get the bonus explorers in with the cities. We're gonna get a triangle trade right away in A1. I don't think that there's a great way to stop that. So Keeper's gonna draft a power, take a minor. We haven't really talked about strategy with Keeper yet, but definitely like powers with Sun, like powers with Fire and Plant on them, like powers that cost 0. I'm going to take Sky Stretches to Shore because it's nuts, and will probably do huge things for us at some point during the game. Although Call the Dahan Ways is really nice, as is Drought and Guardian Serpents, especially against a France where they're going to get tons of towns. But I like Sky Stretches to Shore a lot. And then we're going to uncover our Sun element and play Boon of Growing Power. And then with Serpent, against France now, I kind of want to do open somewhat differently, because I don't really want to what am I trying to say here? I don't want to let them get ahead of me too fast, which they're going to go very fast just because it is France. They're going to get lots of explorers and towns, and so I'm still going to gift a Primordial Deeps turn 1 and gain a minor, but we will probably look into getting a major here soon. Let's see. These are all kind of tempting. I think Rouse the Trees and Stones is probably the pick, just because we can use it as... This will get to the question earlier a little bit about offensive Serpent, and it also has the plant earth elements, which are going to be useful for awakening a little bit faster. So I'll take Rouse the Trees and Stones here, and then I'm actually going to play it turn 1 to try and solve, or not solve, but help with the defense in A1 and A6. So we're gonna go ahead and make a Sacred Site with Serpent, Rouse the Trees and Stones, and go from there. So, finish playing cards. Vader's building the mountains. We're going to triangle trade first. And I'm going to add the bonus town in... I think I want it in A5, just because that stops the double explore in A5 and also lets us have presence there with a town to destroy in the near future. Yep, so there's the Wetlands Explorer, and we stop the double Explorer, so that's nice. Extra Explorer, I'll toss into A8, and I guess D7. I don't really want to put them in D6 because we've got the Wilds token there. Then we can actually... Let's see, do we have a way to set up Sacrosanct Wilderness next turn on France? The answer is kind of. I'm going to Spreading Wilds, push the Explorer out of D7. I don't want to put him in D1. I want to put him into D8, which is just going to be a problem land for now. And then I'm going to Boon of Growing Power, and we haven't seen a defensive power on Keeper yet, which is a little unfortunate, but we probably can get away without that for the time being. We're going to draft another power next turn and hope for that to deal with D5. But for now, Sacrosanct Wilderness is going to be the plan to take out the town in D7 and get those Dahan probably into D5 or maybe D1. The other thing to worry about, of course, is we do have to keep in mind Slave Rebellion at a certain point, which will be pretty helpful. But for now, I'm going to do 2 damage here, push the Explorer. I'm going to toss them into A4 because, well, I could actually toss them into A6. A4 is better because then the Explorers are less everywhere. Serpent Rouses in Anger is just going to be 1 ping damage and not be enough. And then Boon of Growing Power, I'm going to use on Serpent, give it an extra energy, get it an extra power card. So we'll take another minor. And there's Confounding Mists. That could be useful. We could potentially use that if Serpent grows over to D board. Because we don't need to absorb Essence next turn necessarily. But either way, that's still going to potentially be useful. Other possibilities, Steam Vents is actually kind of nice here. Lure of the Unknown is less nice, but still nice. And Quicken the Earth Struggles has great elements for Serpent, but I'm not usually going to have the Sacred Sites where I want to do the Defend 10. So I think I'm going to take Confounding Mists and go with that for now. And we'll see what Keeper gets. So, Keeper is going to grow first into D7 because it doesn't really have another choice. And then we're going to gain a power card. Hope for some defense. We didn't get defense, but that's okay. We got Call to Trade as an option. And we got Call to Migrate. If we want to focus on Dahan movement to set up for the Slave Rebellion. Scour the Land is really nice for destroying all explorers and 3 towns. We're probably not going to hit the 3 air threshold for it, but it could still do some work in a few different lands. I'm looking at like D3, for example. Savage Maw Beasts, I think, is not going to do enough for us, so I don't really want to take that one. I think that with what we've already got, either Call to Trade or Scour the Land is the pick here. And I'm leaning more towards Scour the Land just because I think it's super strong against France. Whereas Call to Trade just hurts sometimes. It does have Plant, which is really nice for Keeper, but Plant and Air, so that lets us do some fun things with Spreading Wilds. But I'm gonna take Scour the Land for now, and then get a second card play with Keeper. And I'm gonna go ahead and push those Dahan into D5. And let's see, Serpent. I'm actually gonna let's undo that. I'm gonna push one Dahan into D5 and one Dahan into D1 because I do want to hop over with Serpent and defend D5 with Confounding Mists this turn. So Serpent is, I kind of want to keep Rouse the Trees and Stones for trying to hit that level 2 Serpent Wakes in Power in a few turns. And so I'm inclined to take another Minor this turn rather than switching to Majors right away. So we'll go ahead and draft another Minor, see what we get. Hey there, Nitro. Good to see you again. And let's see here. Poison Dew, I think I mentioned, is nice against France. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that probably. But we could theoretically do something like Visions of Fiery Doom. We could theoretically use Flesh Rot Fever. Disease is really nice against France as well. Infested Aquifers is, I mean, it's sort of a counterpart to Flesh Rot Fever, but I like the elements on Flesh Rot Fever a little bit more. Although this is where I probably overvalue the damage portion of Serpent's Right Innate rather than the pushing portion of it, and so that's kind of a difference. But I'm gonna take Poison Dew because potentially it'll kill a bunch of explorers at some point. And then we're gonna grow, get our second card play, and we're gonna hop over. Oh, we can hop all the way to D1 even. That's kind of tempting because then we can potentially do some stuff in there at range 0 next turn. The only question is, are we going to screw ourselves over a little bit by doing that? By not or by with the triangle trade happening, doing too much there. But I think that'll be okay because we're gonna Aegis this turn and we're gonna Confounding Mists, and that's gonna give us not enough to actually destroy a town. So let's play a little more conservatively. I'll hop into D2. Stay at a slight range, and D2 is not under threat immediately, so play these two, and we're gonna Sacrosanct Wilderness, and Oh, actually, I keep on second guessing here. Sacrosanct Wilderness, and I think Scour the Land is gonna be the pick here, because Scour the Land can clean up D3 really nicely. It can't really clean up D1, but it can clean up D3. It could do some work in A2 potentially. If they get a bunch of explorers somewhere else, we could potentially use it. So I think we're gonna start blighting the island here. So Sacrosanct Wilderness, I really want to shoot the town in here. Unless I'm misremembering Triangle Trade. No, Triangle Trade is just the fewest towns. It's not no towns. So, yeah, we wanna shoot the town here. Do 2 damage. You know, let's actually use it on A3, because then we can get some more Dahan into A2, which is going to be really nice if we can set up a defense with Serpent. And we're going to be a little happier with getting more wilds on the board, because anytime we can stop French explorers is great. All right, Elemental Aegis to stop the Blight in 1 and 6. Confounding Mists to stop the Blight in D5. Ravage in the Mountains. We take out a town. We take out another town, and we take a Blight. Triangle Trade. I'm going to put the Triangle Trade town in D2 rather than D5, just because D2 isn't blighted yet. And they explore the sands, which is fine. We'd really like an empty wetland to throw that explorer in, but we don't have that. So I'm going to toss them into D5, and I'm going to toss them into A1, because otherwise I have the wilds. So then Scour the Land. I was going to... Ooh, that's a lot of explorers in A4. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push an explorer from D4 into D3 and just lose out on the wilds this turn. And then Scour the Land in D3. And that'll save us a town as well as killing 2 towns. Serpent rouses in anger. Again, we don't have the elements for it, so we just do a ping and it heals. And now we want to figure out some defense with Serpent. So we want to probably do some defending in A2. Let's see. Poison Dew is jungles and wetlands, so we can't use that to solve A4, unfortunately. And then we can't do a double growth with Keeper this turn, but we can do a single growth and gain another power card. Or we can reclaim if there's anything we can do with that. I think at this point I want to reclaim with Serpent and try and set up some defense in 2 and 5. It's going to be a little less defense than I want, so we're probably going to lose the Dahan and take a Blight. But I'm going to move a presence into A4, which technically would get us defense in D3 as well, but we already sort of looked at that and handled it. And then Serpent's going to add another presence, and we're going to go ahead and put that in... I'm going to go ahead and put the fire element, and I'm going to put it into... I'm going to put it into A7, just because that's going to be a problem area here soon. So we've got presence in with a lot of the Sands Explorers. Keeper's going to have to gain a power card. At this point, I'm tempted to gain a major. see if I can get something useful to help with defense. But we do have Sky Stretches to Shore, which is going to be nice for speeding up Serpent's Innate this turn, so that we can actually shrink the damage in A5 a little bit to the point that we're actually defending it effectively. But we don't really have a solution for D1 yet. And so that's where I think that gaining a major on Keeper is going to be our best bet for handling D1. Those will do. Trees and Stone Speak of War is great. Yeah, actually, Trees and Stone Speak of War is great. I don't think there's any reason I'd want any of the others at this point. Sea Monsters is really nice for clearing up big coastal lands, but it is slow. Whereas Trees and Stones will kill the city and give us the defense we need to soak the rest. So we'll take Trees and Stones. I'm going to go ahead and forget... I kind of want to keep Scour the Land, just because it is really good against France. And so I think I'm going to forget Boon of Growing Power here. Neither of these spirits is going to need it that badly for the rest of the game. They're both pretty good at gaining powers, and I think that's going to sort of give us the best shot at keeping on here. Major Keeper or Minor Keeper, I think I default more towards Major Keeper, just because in my mind it's a little bit easier to play. And it does probably depend on the adversary. This is one of those where I know there are better Keeper players than me, and I want to spend some more time talking to them as I'm working on the basic strategy for Keeper. But I've definitely seen a lot of support for Minor Keeper, even though I don't play it as much myself. I hope that answers your question. But we'll play Trees and Stones and Sky Stretches to Shore, and Absorb Essence and Elemental Aegis. So Trees and Stones Speak of War, take out the city, defend D1. Absorb Essence on Keeper. We'll eat... I think I want to keep this Sacred Site near this land in D8, because Towering Wrath might be our solution to that in a few turns. So I'm going to eat one of the presents from D6, because I don't think we need that too badly right now. And I'd rather keep spread out onto D3 in case we lose that Wilds token. Keeper does get an extra element here. The extra element isn't really going to do too much for us, I don't think. I guess we could have thresholded Trees and Stones Speak of War, but pushing the Dahan, we only really would push one Dahan, and it's not that big a deal. So I'm just going to gain an extra Sun here so that I can push 2 Explorers with Spreading Wilds. So if they explore an empty land somewhere that Keeper can reach, we can do that. So we've absorbed Essence, so I can Elemental Aegis now, get some defense up, and then I'm going to Sky Stretches to Shore, which lets Serpent rouse in anger. And we're going to take out the town in land 5. I think that's everything. Again, the game isn't automatically finishing it off for me, so... Do I have a... I have events turned off, but I have tokens on, and so I'm wondering if I have a Command Beasts option hidden somewhere that I can't see. But... yeah, Keeper, like, I think the big complaint about Major Keeper is that it just feels like a generic Major Slinging Spirit. It doesn't, like, have a lot of fun theme going on for it, which is so much of what this game is for a lot of people. Alright, we're getting a little tight on towns, but not too terrible. That big Explorer in D5 is kind of painful. I am going to put an extra town there, though, because I don't want to take a Blight Cascade. And similarly in A6, we're going to take an extra town there. We could take the Blight in A1 and still be Healthy Island, but I think I'd rather put the town in A6. then we get some bonus explorers. I'll go ahead and put one in D1. And we're forced to put one in 3 there. Now, Spreading Wilds, unfortunately, can't target the Blighted Mountains to stop some of those builds. Excuse me. Earth and Serpent versus Prussia or England. That would be interesting. I don't know that we're going to have time this morning to do that. I've only got about a couple hours total, so... but that would be a fun matchup to try and do. Excuse me, gotta drink some tea here. So, Spreading Wilds. We're Spreading Wilds. Keeper has range 2 with this turn because we've got the air element from Sky Stretches to Shore. And so I think that I probably want to get a Wilds token down in A1 in order to get some more reach onto that board. The other thing is, do I have a target for Sacrosanct Wilderness that would be good? I could Spreading Wilds into D4, for example, and then Sacrosanct Wilderness to take out that town, and that would solve that sand. But I also have the potential to defend the sands with an Elemental Aegis play again, although not very well. Yeah, this is... There's not really a good place to push 2 explorers, sadly. I think I'm going to go ahead and actually go into D1 so that Keeper can grow and push those to Han back into D7 and do something with, like, either Trees and Stones again or something in there. So let's push the D1 Explorer. I'm going to toss them into D2 where we've got the disease. And get that Wilds token down. All right, so Keeper this turn. I might want to try and reclaim Trees and Stones, but I'm going to gain another power card first, gain a major, and see what we can do. I must admit I was surprised to think lunch already, and then I remember that people are in all sorts of time zones, so... I'm drinking a cherry tea that I got from my mother-in-law. It's a pretty good one. So I'm gonna gain another major on Keeper here and see what we get. Ooh, Vigor of the Breaking Dawn is fun. I don't... We could actually probably threshold that if we absorb Essence. That might be really, really good, actually. Because then that would solve at least a little bit of the board here. Bloodrack Plague is nice. Getting Disease is great against France. Getting Defense is great, especially AoE defense. Sweep into the Sea is cool. Anytime we have something that says destroy all explorers and towns against France is great. But I think Vigor is going to be the all-star here. So I am going to go ahead and forget Sky Stretches to Shore. I have triggered Serpent's 3rd level. We're going to see if we get there this game. I'm going to try. But it is uncommon. It usually requires getting pretty far down their tracks, which means, you know, not losing but also not winning too fast. Which can be a mixed thing sometimes with Serpent. Let's see here. Unfortunately, our Dahan are a little concentrated, but we can change that. So I'm going to go ahead and grow... I'm going to stick with the top track Keeper for now. And I'm going to grow twice into D1. and push the Dahan all into D7 so that we have a good target with Vigor. And then I'm going to Towering Wrath. Towering Wrath is going to be kind of weird this turn. I don't know exactly where it's going to get used, but we'll come up with something. Then... yeah, Nitro. Bringer's definitely geared with majors in mind. So Serpent right now is sitting with Absorb Essence and Aegis in the bin, and we want to do something about these 3 sands. How many? We've only absorbed 1 presence so far, and we do want to get another essence absorbed this turn, I think, for the element for Vigor, so we can threshold it. So I'm going to go ahead and reclaim cards again with Serpent. I know it feels a little ridiculous maybe to do that. And I'm going to extract this presence from the sand. Is that right? Yeah, we're gonna move that presence from the sand. We're probably gonna see some blight come down, but we're gonna be able to. We should be able to soak it all right. The bigger thing I'm worried about actually is towns this turn, but I think I'm gonna do enough damage over in board D that we're not gonna have to worry too much about the town count, even though we've got a bunch of explorers on the board. We'll uncover our any element. Put that presence in. I do want another sacred site here pretty soon, so I'm gonna put that presence in A5 and get a sacred site there. Sacred site for Rouse Trees and Stones, because we're gonna hopefully be able to hit that level 2 Serpent Wakes and Power pretty soon here. All right, this is gonna get messy, but hopefully it works out. Do we have... Yeah, this is fine. All right, so we're gonna absorb essence on Keeper. I'm gonna take out... Let's see, I don't want to take out the sacred sites there, so I'm gonna eat D6. Give Keeper a animal element so that Vigor is thresholded. We take out D7. We push 1 Dahan to D5, and I think we push 1 Dahan to D8 to take out 2 Explorers so that we don't have 2 extra towns build there. And then we Elemental Aegis over in D3, and we hope the Fear card does something to help out with that. Click an element to gain it. That's why it's waiting, maybe. We're probably going to take a Earth element and use it to destroy the city in A5 this turn, but that could change, so... Oh, and I forgot about Slave Rebellion, as usual. I need to get better at remembering that every time. Well, we've got 1 good target there, and over on this board, we can at least throw the Strife somewhere useful for next turn. I'm gonna put it on... I'm actually gonna put it on the town here, because then we can take out a city and a town with Towering Wrath in the slow. Goodness, I forgot about Slave Rebellion. Yeah, that's me with France in a nutshell. Is I always forget about Slave Rebellion for some reason. Oh, and now we get to add a Strife in a land with Dahan. So that's entertaining. I'm going to put that Strife... Probably on the city in D2. Oh, I can do it. I can do it to 2 lands. That's right. I'll get the town in D2 as well then. All right, invaders ravaging the sands. Unfortunately, I couldn't strife A4. I mean, I could have, but it wouldn't have worked quite as well. So then we'll cascade that blight. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into A1, I think, because we should be able to defend A1 next turn. And we get a blighted island, downward spiral. That's fine. We've got a fair amount of presence on the board, and both of these spirits are reasonably good at adding presence. And we get coastal lands. All right, so bonus explorer, we're going to toss an explorer in D5, which is great. And then bonus explorer on A board, I think, was forced, so. Let's see here. We have only 3 sun. So we can only push 1 explorer with Keeper this turn. But we do also have Punish Those Who Trespass, which is really nice. So I'm gonna push the Explorer from D4 into A3, and then Punish Those Who Trespass there. And then I'm gonna Towering Wrath in here in D8. We lose a Dahan, but we take out a city and a town, which is really nice. And hopefully we can do something about the rest of that later. And then I was gonna gain an Earth with Serpent in order to take out the city over here. I think that's our best bet. I could do something in D4, but the disease there makes me less worried about that, because those explorers aren't going to convert to towns. And this gives us more fear. All right. So now our problem areas are D8 and the mountains on A board. I was thinking I'd try and handle those with Aegis, but that doesn't look like that's going to work too well right now. So Serpent is going to get to reclaim 1 this turn, which is nice, but I think I'm going to go ahead and gain a major and see if I can get something that'll help with the mountains. Just to stack on top of reclaiming Aegis and using that. Oh, actually, before I do that, before I lock myself into gaining that power, we could potentially set up another. If we reclaim with Keeper, we could set up another Vigor of the Breaking Dawn potentially. I think what I'm going to do with Keeper is I'm going to gain a major there first, see if we can get something with Sun that's useful, and use that alongside Vigor, because then we can clear out A2 and push the Dahan into A1, and do a ton of stuff with that. Or we can potentially get something that solves D8, which would be nice, because otherwise we're going to get a Blight Cascade there. So I'm going to go ahead and gain a major with Keeper and start with that. Talons of Lightning will do it. I don't think we're likely to get a cast down threshold this game. So I'm probably going to take the Talons of Lightning and use that on one of those mountains. Because Keeper's rich enough to do it. We're not going to threshold it, but it is potentially really useful if we can threshold it later on with destroying all of the towns. The only question is that actually better than doing the thresholded Vigor of the Breaking Dawn? And I think just because it stops the Blight Cascade there, it is, but otherwise it probably wouldn't be. So I'm going to take Talons. I'm going to forget Scour the Land at this point. I know I was talking it up earlier, but I think that we'll be all right without it. We have a pretty good collection of powers at this point. And then Keeper, I kind of want to grow into A7 because we've got all those Dahan there. and we can do some stuff with that. The question is am I gonna grow twice, or am I going to reclaim cards? Because again, Vigor is really strong, and we could play Vigor unthresholded just to clear A2. I'm gonna go ahead and grow to A7, and then I don't really want to just regrow from Roots this turn. I would like to get to 3 card plays soon, but I think I'm gonna reclaim and do things that way, and then we'll grow into A7 next turn probably to push Dahan out. Probably into like a D3 or something like that. All right, now back to Serpent. Serpent is... I'd really like to hit that second level Serpent Wakes in Power at some point, but I don't think that's going to happen too soon. So that's where I was going to gain a major and see if I can get something to help with the mountains over here. How close are we to Terror 2? We could Twisted Flowers Murmur ultimatums. That would be fun. Let's see. Because right now we're going to take a Blight Cascade, and Aegis isn't going to do enough to stop it. So I think I might actually change what I was planning on doing then if I take Power Storm, because then I can use Power Storm to loop Thresholded Vigor, and by looping Thresholded Vigor I can solve D8 by pushing a Dahan in, and I can solve A1 and A2. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Power Storm, and then forget. Oh, except I need to play Absorbescent. I can't play everything that I need for that. What of these is actually... Power Storm is probably the strongest card in this pull. I like Twisted Flowers as well because of just unconditional invader removal. And also the elements are a little better for Serpent. We're not likely to Threshold Power Storm at any point. We're also not likely to Threshold Unlock the Gates. And I'm just sort of passing on Grant Hatred because I don't like it that much. I don't think it does enough. I think I am going to take Power Storm, and I'm going to forget Poison Dew. Is that right? Yeah, we'll forget Poison Dew. And then we will get our Reclaim 1 spot and grow into... probably D or A8, I think. Then we can go ahead and reclaim Elemental Aegis, which is going to give us Defend 4. And if we couple that with Confounding Mists, we can stop the Blight Cascade, at least, in A1. So I think that'll be what we do here, and we try and see what else we can get on a future turn as far as handling A6. We'll just lose the Dahan there for now. Keeper, I was going to play Vigor and Talons. Get a bunch of Fear, take out D8, and then use Vigor on A2. And then potentially reclaim again even next turn. I could actually Trees and Stones instead of Vigoring there. But that wouldn't be quite as strong. And we really want to stop all the towns that are going to build there, rather than just some of them, because we're a little low on towns, and that situation is not going to get that much better that much faster. So, all right, so Talons of Lightning, clear that. Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, clear those. Elemental Aegis, get a bunch of defense. And we can't get enough defense, sadly, in A6, so we will put the extra defense here in A1. And we do have Command Beasts, so I don't know why that wasn't showing up earlier. Yeah, I'm gonna use the Command Beasts to ping a couple of explorers, stop a couple of towns. Downward Spiral, we lose a presence from each spirit. I'm going to go ahead and lose... let's see, we're going to be able to destroy a town in the slow. Did I not have a beast last time? Okay. I thought I would just have the starting beasts the whole game, though. I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to lose the presence in A8, and I'm going to lose a presence in D7, which lets us potentially push that to Han by making a Sacred Site again. Ooh, defend 2 in all lands. It's not quite enough. Skip the next normal Explore. That's interesting. Invaders build in the coastal lands. We'll use up the disease, get a town. We're really close on towns right now, so we need to get some aggro going on those. Gain a earth element for Serpent so that we can kill a town this turn. And Spreading Wilds, we can push an Explorer. I'm going to go ahead and take this Explorer from A7. No, I'm going to take the Explorer from A5 and shove them into A8. Get another Wilds token there so the Keeper can potentially grow and do some fun things there. Alright, so coastal lands are going to Ravage. We can do some fun things about that. Serpent is probably going to reclaim Aegis again. Keeper needs to get some Dahan somewhere, or else... Let's see, we don't have a build this turn, so we don't have to worry about towns for a bit. For at least a little bit. And then Keeper can go to 3 card plays this turn, which means we can more easily threshold Vigor, I think. Not actually more easily, because we still don't have anything with Animal in Keeper's hand. Maybe that's what we do, is we... Yeah, A1 is in terrible shape, but that's where I'm thinking about getting Talons of Lightning back to clear out the city, or to clear out probably the 2 towns and the Explorer. Or if we can threshold Vigor, we can use it on A2 and push those Dahan in to take out the 2 towns and then defend it from A5 with Aegis. So, yes, A1 is in bad shape. It is absolutely in bad shape. I'm just trying to figure out how to handle D2 at the same time, because D2 is in not bad shape, but not great shape. Although I suppose actually Trees and Stones Speak of War would be sufficient to solve D2. Get the defense on, and then the 2 strife is enough with that. So I think Keeper. Well, I wanted to use Aegis up in A5 to defend A1, was my thought. But I suppose we could do something like looping Power Storm potentially. Do we have enough energy for that? We might. Looping with Power Storm. How close are we on Serpent to getting that? Aegis is AoE from everything within range 1 of the land that you use it on. So I can't use it on... It's not like Encompassing Ward. Encompassing Ward would cover D2 and potentially A1 if I put a presence in there. But as is, it doesn't quite work. So I think I'm going to go ahead and gain... I'm going to gain a power card with Keeper to start. I'm going to gain a Miner and see what we get. And Inflame the Fires of Life will do it, I think, because that has Animal. Yeah, so I'm gonna grab Inflame the Fires of Life, and then I'm gonna Reclaim, and then with Serpent, I'm going to play Gift of Flowing Power and Power Storm, I think. Because that should let me play that, and then with Gift of Flowing Power, I can get a 3rd Sun element to Threshold Vigor. Oh, except I want to be able to play Aegis. Can I just defend it with something else? Yeah, I can defend it with something else. I can defend it with Confounding Mists. And so then I wouldn't Power Storm, and that would be fine. Or I could Aegis. It doesn't actually make a difference. Either way, though, I think that I'm gonna gain a new major with Serpent. See if that opens up any other options. Ooh, my favorite, Insatiable Hunger of the Swarm. We're probably not going to use that because we've already got a little too much blight on the island. Flow like water, reach like air is really tempting. Can we can threshold it actually if we use it alongside well, we want to use Gift of Flowing Power. So, but we could do it next turn. We could threshold it. Jungle Hungers is really good against France, and so that's actually probably the best pick here. Because if we put a presence in A3, yeah, Insatiable Hunger of the Swarm would be a ton of blight coming down. I'm gonna take Jungle Hungers. I think it's just the best France killer here. And I'm going to forget Gift of the Primordial Deeps at this point. We get our water element, and I am going to grow into a jungle that I can use to target A4 next turn, because A4 is a huge problem area with lots of towns. And then Gift of Flowing Power, Reclaim, Confounding Mists. And play that. Actually, Aegis has better elements, doesn't it? And it's the same defense, so we'll grab Aegis instead, because then we can potentially take out a town with Serpent Rouses in Anger. All right, so Gift of Flowing Power. We're gonna play an extra power card. I want to play Trees and Stones Speak of War. Which thresholds Vigor. Trees and Stones Speak of War defends D2. Vigor the Breaking Dawn hits A2, which doesn't do too much, except that we push them into here to destroy the towns. And then Elemental Aegis gives us the rest of the defense we need. Downward Spiral, I'm going to go ahead and lose... I'll lose the presence in D3, I think, because I want to stay in D2 to potentially take out the city with Serpent Rouses in Anger. And Keeper can lose D7 because the inland on D is so clear. So I'm going to deal 1 damage to the city and 1 damage to an Explorer here. Alright, and then I will actually take the Blight, I think, here, rather than the extra town. We have 5 towns. We could take the... We gotta take the town in D6, which is unfortunate. But... Well, and we've got another Explore coming up in a moment with another Threshold, so... I'm gonna take the Blight, just so that we don't have things getting completely out of hand on that escalation. Add an Explorer. Let's go with D1, where we've got presence, and let's go with A1 because we've got the Dahan there. And they go to the Sands. All right, we definitely don't want to take the Blight in A4, so we'll add a town to A7. Well, if I could take a Blight in D6, I would have, but but France's escalation is you take Blight if there's buildings there already, and you get a town otherwise. And then I'm gonna take the Blight again in D4 this time. Add the bonus Explorers. We'll go for A2 and D5 has a lot of Dahan and it'll be fine. All right, so now we get to do some fun things with Punish Those Who Trespass, and we can use that in A3 to solve that land. Serpent Rouses in Anger. I need to gain an extra element, and then take out the city here. How close are we to... We're nowhere near Terror 3. Oh, no worries, no worries. This game is happening mostly because we had a request to try and see Serpent wake up, which Serpent will probably wake up here pretty soon. Alright, so we get to push an Explorer and add a Wilds. Unfortunately, we only get to push 1 Explorer. I think that I really want that Wilds back in D6 so that I can snipe the town with Sacrosanct Wilderness. So I'm gonna just add the Wilds token there. And then Inflame the Fires of Life is almost certainly going to be a disease in D7. Because we do have another Slave Rebellion coming up, but I think that the disease is going to be bigger than doing another Strife, just because our Dahan aren't really well positioned for the Slave Rebellion. So I'm going to add a disease there to stop them from building a town. And we're going to get Keeper up to more card plays now. Yeah, I mean, I think the lore for Blighted Island of just sort of saying if the island gets to this point, the damage is going to take much, much longer to heal kind of makes sense to me. But it does still suck. Alright, so Keeper is going to grow, and we're going to... now I want Vigor again. I think Keeper's actually just going to reclaim because this keeps happening. Where Vigor is just such a strong card. Because we can use it to solve A7 and a good chunk of A8. And then I'm going to set up a third card play. The only question is, do I want to gain another power card? And I think the answer is yes. I am going to gain a minor at this point, just because our hand's getting kind of expensive. Gift of Living Energy is nice. Nature's Resilience is nice. Reaching Grasp is nice. These are pretty much all nice. I'm not a huge fan of Devouring Ants, but at least not in this particular spirit. I'm going to take Gift of Living Energy, I think. Just to potentially fuel some more shenanigans later. And the elements of having Sun, Fire, and Plant are just so huge for Keeper. And then we will get our third card play. Huzzah! And I'm going to grow into... Let's see. We can actually loop Vigor this turn again, which is still ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead and put Keeper's Presence into A5, I think. I don't want to push those to Han in A7 just yet. So we're going to play Sacrosanct Wilderness, Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, and Inflame the Fires of Life on Keeper. Get that Thresholded Vigor again. Get Sacrosanct Wilderness. And then we're going to reclaim... How are we doing on Presence for Serpent? We're at only 4 of 8. That's fine. We're finally going to uncover that Earth. Are we going to be able to... we can Threshold Jungle Hungers, so that's going to be great. That'll solve A4 beautifully. I'm actually just going to take Energy Spike on Serpent, because I plan to play 2 majors this turn. And we'll set up in... I'll set up a Sacred Site in A3. So Power Storm and Jungle Hungers. Oh, I can't actually Threshold it because I want a Power Storm. So that's not quite going to solve A4. It'll mostly solve A4. There'll still be a city left, but we can defend that. And I need to reclaim a discard. So I'm going to take back Aegis. And I think that's it. So we will Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, clear out most of board D. We will Power Storm in order to Vigor of the Breaking Dawn again. Clear out a substantial chunk of board A. Sacrosanct Wilderness to snipe the town in D6. And why am I not finished using powers? Oh, I think I've got Hidden Command Beasts again. So the Jungles and Sands are going to build, and we really don't mind because Jungle Hungers is coming. Downward Spiral. Board D is looking really nice, so I'm going to go ahead and lose the presence there and keep the Sacred Sites. And for Keeper, I want to keep a Sacred Site, so I'm going to lose the presence I just placed in A5. Growth through Sacrifice is really good because Proliferation is really good. in general. Adding presence is one of the strongest things you can do in the game. So growth through sacrifice costs 0, lets you add a presence to accelerate your tracks, and just lets you scale up so much faster than the game is used to, than the game is balanced around. And so that's sort of, yeah, it's for faster tracks. We'll put that guy in the sand to ravage and die. We'll put that guy in the sand to ravage and die. All right, so Serpent wakes in power. Let's see, what elements do we have right now? I want to gain... None of these elements do too much. We can get some extra fear if we gain an earth. Excuse me. Get some more energy. But Serpent doesn't have presence with buildings right now. And then Jungle Hungers is going to clear most of A4. Inflame the fires of life. I'm gonna strife actually in D2 rather than disease, because then it just solves it. And we get an extra fear for that, which is nice. Spreading wilds. Yeah, so there's a really good interview with Ted Vesness, I think it is, talking about growth through sacrifice, and some of his comment on it is that when they were designing the game, they both overvalued presence destruction. They thought it would hurt more than it would, and they undervalued presence placement. They thought it wouldn't help as much as it does. And so growth through sacrifice is an effect that probably should cost, 1 or 2 energy, if not more, but it costs 0 because it has a cost that people don't like. And so it's kind of ridiculous in that sense. We'll punish those who trespass there. And Spreading Wilds, we get another Wilds token somewhere. Because I can't actually hit any of the blighted lands with it. So I will go ahead and just put another Wilds down in D6. Alright, so Sands and Jungles are about to ravage. Elemental Aegis is going to be big here, but more importantly, Serpent's about to hit 4 card plays. So that's going to be cool. I should probably reclaim for that. So let's reclaim cards as Serpent. I'm going to move a presence into... I kind of want to go into the jungle for Jungle Hungers, but I think I actually need the presence in D3 instead for the AoE defense with Aegis. And then we place another presence, and we get 4 card plays, which is awesome. And I will just remake that Sacred Site. So if we play this, and let's see, how close can we get to that? Probably not quite close enough. Can play that, and we need 1 more plant, but we have 1 more plant. So we're not going to Snake Quake this turn, but we probably are going to Snake Quake next turn. I will point out Indomitable Claim actually came out before Growth Through Sacrifice, because Growth Through Sacrifice is in Branch and Claw, and Indomitable Claim is in the base game. But that is not that big of a thing. So let's play Confounding Mists, because then we can defend A8. And then Keeper is going to do some Talonsing. Claim does let you, yeah, it just costs 4, which is a lot more balanced, especially with the Defend 20 or Action Skip. So, and Indomitable Claim is still a really good card. All right, Keeper. I think we're going to go to 5 card plays this turn. Get a Minor. Hey, look, Growth Through Sacrifice. I'm not going to take it, though. I'm going to take Rain of Blood, actually, because then we can threshold some fun stuff, namely Vigor. And I'm going to set up a Sacred Site in A5. Reclaim Vigor. Play 5 cards. Yeah, I think, Fandor, I think that I just don't play... I don't play enough, like, large multiplayer games that, like, they come up early often. And I feel like when I do see them... Well, I feel like when I see Unrelenting Growth, I don't like it as much because it's usually late game and I can usually win by taking something that has immediate board impact instead. But that might just be an issue of not playing at high enough difficulty. I'm not sure. All right, let's just do this with Keeper and go nuts. So we have a bunch of thresholded things. We have some majors. We're gonna crush the invaders this turn. Yeah, the only thing that makes Prolif bad is when you've already won without it. Prolif is really, really good, and I don't mean to say that it's not. Let's see, I wanted to absorb Essence. So Jungles and Sands are Ravaging. We're going to absorb Essence on Keeper. We'll eat the Presence in A7, because that one's not needed for targeting. And we'll give Keeper... What do we still need for Trees and Stones? We still need... We'll give Keeper an Earth for that, I guess, as opposed to a 6-Sun. Power is the most broken in the entire game, other than Growth Through Sacrifice. Probably Vigor of the Breaking Dawn is my pick for I think the best one. I don't know that it's my favorite one, but I think it's probably the most broken one. So I'm going to kill that guy, push that Daham there. Gift of Living Energy on Serpent, get them some energy. Yeah, Vigor of the Breaking Game. I might need to actually do Vigor from A8 into A6 because of that mountain build coming up. Which is fine. I just trying to see if there's anywhere else that's worth doing it. I was thinking clearing out some of the sands, but they're not as big a deal because we've got the defense. So I'm going to Vigor up here, push these to Han, take out the 4 explorers, assuming I can click correctly. Vigor of the Breaking Dawn does feel a little bit like flying things across the board, though, I'll be honest. And then I'm gonna actually Confounding Mists in A1 so that the towns get pushed to A5 where I can take them out with the Punish Those Who Trespass. Because I don't think I actually need the defense anywhere at this point. And then let's finish using powers. Lose a presence. I'll lose this wetland presence and this sacred site, I think, because I've got a sacred site over in A5. Spiders is pretty cool. It's not in the digital one, but... Alright. So we add some strife, and that'll actually come very close to winning us the game. I guess we gather one of these to stop a town build. And gather one of these to stop a town build. Let's build in A1, push it to A5. Push to A5. We can put an explorer there safely and an explorer there safely. All right, spreading wilds, we can push these two explorers into A5, and then punish. I guess we'll split the damage with here, but I'm gonna just take out the town and all these explorers. Wings is really fun in Dahan Insurrection, I'll point out, because then it turns into 5 damage plus defend 5. But that's kind of an absurd case. Let's see, we've got Rouse the Trees and Stones, which we can't really target most places because we've got Blight everywhere. And then Serpent rouses in anger. We don't have a great target for. I wanted to grab a plant element so I could Serpent Wakes in power. How close are we on level 3? We just need another plant, but we don't have that, so. I'm going to go ahead and take the 6 energy spot, and I can put it at range 1 so I can destroy some stuff. Let's take out... the city here in D4. And then Keeper gets to add a presence. Oh, we can put another Sacred Site here, and then we can clear A4. So D4, and then A4. Not quite clear. Yeah, I mean, we're doing this purely to show full snake. So, I don't think Rouse the Trees and Stones has any good targets. So, I guess we'll just use it somewhere. All right, so we're gonna try and Snakequake. Yeah, I'm not gonna get level 3 Serpent Wakes in power. Do I want to gain another power card? Is that how I want to do this? How much? We should probably gain a power with Keeper and see if we can get Elemental Boon. I don't think that's been discarded yet. So let's gain a minor with Keeper. Elemental Boon, hey, there we go. All right, we're gonna Snakequake. And I'll put the presence somewhere that isn't blighted. There's not a lot of that left. Let's just make another Sacred Site. And then we already burned the major that has all elements. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, unlock the gates. And then, so Serpent is going to grow. I'm going to go ahead and put a presence in here just because that's where we're built up. And then I think if I reclaim those, because I need to get to 5, 6, 6. So I'm naturally at 1, 1, 1. So I need to play 5 cards. Elemental Boon gets me to 2, 2, 2. Essence and Aegis and Rouse the Trees and Stones get me a lot closer. Am I going to have enough Earth? Not unless I gain... I might not have quite enough Earth in my hand to do it. Unless I can find another way to get an element. Did I already burned... No, I didn't already burn it. What's it called? The Speron with Words of Fire. So I could potentially get that if I draft another power with Keeper. So let's see if we get that. Nope, no Speron. That's fine. We'll just take Veil the Night's Hunt, I guess. Level 3 needs 6 fire for Rouses and Anger. All right, so I'm going to gain a power card with Snake, and I'm going to gain a Minor. And I think Gift of Power is our best bet here. Has the most elements for us. Reclaim Essence. Reclaim Aegis. Oh, and I can Power Storm Elemental Boon, so I should be able to do it. It's gonna... Yeah, it'll work. It'll work. We'll get there. I don't actually need Gift of... Or I do need Gift of Flowing Power? No, I don't. I don't need Gift of Flowing Power, but if I play Jungle Hungers, that gets me the extra moon I want. I'm actually gonna... Yeah, we're actually gonna get to do everything. Keeper needs to reclaim something. We'll just reclaim Gift of Living Energy. Okay, so to do this, we need... Is Power Storm thresholded? No, we're nowhere near thresholding Power Storm. Okay, so I'm going to gain a plant. I'm going to Elemental Boon, gaining those, and then I am going to Power Storm to repeat Elemental Boon, gaining those, and it doesn't matter what else. Let's just gain another moon. So now we have fully leveled Serpent Rouses in Anger and fully leveled Serpent Wakes in Power. It does require energy, but we have Gift of Living Energy to get us the energy we need. We just need to not accidentally win before we get to use it, which is quite possibly going to happen. So I'm going to eat a presence from Keeper. Give Keeper... What does Keeper want? Another plant, probably? Oh, actually, we could Threshold Downs of Lightning, too. Let's not do that. That's probably overkill. So Talons of Lightning, I'll take out D5. How close are we to Terror 3? We're pretty close. So we want the city to survive. So I'm going to Veil the Night's Hunt Dahan out of A6. so the city doesn't die in the counterattack. And then... Am I forgetting something still? I'm probably forgetting something. But I think the mountains and jungles are mostly in hand. So I'm going to Veil the Knight's Hunt. Push 3 Dahan out of there. And finish using powers. Downward Spiral. We'll lose a presence over here. And we'll lose this other keeper presence. Defend 6 in all coastal lands. Nice. We may push things from an inland land. Yeah, I'm moving out so I don't win the game before the Snakequake, because I want to do the Snakequake. I'm just going to skip this fear card. It's fine. This is what? Land to add an extra explorer to. All right, now we get to Snakequake. Do we? Yeah, we should waken power first, and then both Keeper and Snake will gain a major power without forgetting. So place a presence into 6. Why am I gaining an element here? I don't actually know why it's giving me an element here. Did I forget something? Excuse me. Well, we'll just take another plant. Keeper gets to move a presence. We can break up this sacred site and hop down into here, I guess. Serpent Slumbering gets... how about Unrelenting Growth? We talked about how good that was, right? Oh, it's the any element. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I just uncovered an any element and I totally forgot. Ooh, Strangling Firevine. That's really good on Keeper. All right, now we get to Rouse and Anger. I'm going to hit choose for me and let the board clear. We only get 2 damage there. But yep. So that's the Snakequake. It was a little underwhelming because of the downward spiral. We only had 6 presents left on the board for Serpent. And yeah. That's Serpent and Keeper. Hope you had fun with that game. It ended up taking quite a bit of time, so I think that I actually am probably going to need to shut down the stream here pretty soon because I need to be getting off to something. But thank you guys for joining and watching some more Snake games. And hope you were able to have some fun. Maybe learn something. Yeah, that does happen with Keeper and Snake. All right. Well, have a good day, guys. Thanks for watching.